Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, yeah, it is that time of year. The family, the feast, and let's roll out some basketballs. Let's have a good old time. The Washington Huskies are ready to rock and roll as it's time to play basketball. The Huskies taking on the Tigers of Pacific out of Stockton, California. At the Bank of America Arena, along with Francis Williams, I'm Kevin Calabro, and welcome in, everybody. Well, the Washington Huskies stand 2-3 on the year, coming off a tournament in which they lost to the defending champion Kansas Jayhawks by 19, but then reversed their fortunes and actually played a heck of a game against the Florida Gators, then ranked 17th in the country. The Huskies came up 2 points short, but what happened in that 24 hours to turn this thing around for the Huskies?
Well, it really was a contrast. The first night against Kansas, the Huskies offensively just could not get anything going. They only scored a total of 54 points to turn the ball over 15 times, shot 29% from the field. So it was a real tough night for the Huskies offensively. But the second night against Florida, the Huskies did a really good job of understanding that what they had to do as far as playing inside out. And playing inside out, they had Isaiah Thomas attacking the paint, see him dropping the ball off to John Brockman. And so they were able to share the wealth and shot a much better percentage from the floor and gave themselves a chance to win, although they came up just a little bit short against the Gators.
Yeah, that offense has got to go through Brockman. He was 2 for 9, but did have the 18 rebounds against Kansas, came up with a 22 and 11 effort. And then Isaiah Thomas, very economical line, Francis, 17 points, 9 assists in the 2-point loss to the Gators.
Yeah, the 9 assists is the statistic that Coach Romar is really excited about, and as he told us in our pregame conversation, he can't wait for today's game.
Pacific 2-1, coming off a win in Reno over Nevada, 67-59, and they are led by the 6'7" senior Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown, fifth-year senior, 6'7". He's been in this program. He understands it inside and out, and it'll be an interesting matchup on the inside with he and Willard against the strength of John Brockman.
Justin Denman shooting 47% beyond three. That 20-foot, 9-inch, 1-foot distance improvement in the offseason hasn't affected his range at all, and they will need that distance to open up things inside for Brockman. We'll get underway as the Huskies meet Pacific next. Welcome, everybody. The Huskies are set to take on Pacific. Let's go down to the court. The third member of our broadcast team this afternoon, Jen Mueller. Jenny?
Well, Kevin, you know there's a lot of fans that are going to be paying attention to Chad Troyer here. He plays for Pacific but went to Seattle Prep. He's one of the best three-point shooters they have. In fact, he ranks second all-time for three-point field goal percentage at Pacific. The guy right ahead of him is the son of his head coach, Bob Thomason. So you kind of got to wonder what coach is thinking as Chad closes in on that record. I can tell you exactly what Husky head coach Lorenzo Romar is thinking, though, as the Dogs play their first of 8 straight games here at Bank of America Arena. And talking to coach before the game, he said this is a great time to build momentum as they go into Pac-10 play in January. And guys, I got to think coach is right on this one. I certainly hope they can pull out a win today.
Jen, thank you. In fact, Francis, when we were talking to Lorenzo earlier this afternoon, he says, I can't wait for this game today to see if we learned our lesson.
Yeah, well, from a coaching standpoint, you can't wait to see if what they went through down in Kansas City translates into this game, and they continue to show that they're maturing and learning how to play with each other, and that ends up resulting in a win.
He's going to stay with the same 5 that he played in the 2-point loss to the Gators. Justin Denman, along with Isaiah Thomas, John Brockman, Quincy Pondexter, and Darnell Gant. It'll be Chad Troyer, Joe Ford, Sam Willard, Terrell Smith, and Anthony Brown. And Pacific with an impressive win over Nevada coming into this afternoon's game. They beat Nevada down in Reno 67-59. The thing that we've talked about before the game, the fact that Pacific is not a team that hurts themselves. Lorenzo Romar said they've got an excellent system. They stay within the system.
Yeah, they're going to run their half-court offense. They'll probably go deep into the shot clock. They know they don't have the athletes to match up with Washington, but they're tournament tested. They're a very strong team in the Big West, so this will be an interesting afternoon for the Huskies.
Darnell Gant will stand in with Sam Willard, and we'll get things underway. Our officials are Vern Harris, Ruben Ramos, and Bill Kennedy. First of 8 in a row at home for the Huskies this afternoon, and we are underway, and it's John Brockman doubled outside to Thomas for the 3. Splash, and the Huskies on top quickly, but the ball first went inside.
And right away, dropping it off to Brockman, making the defense collapse, kick it back out to Isaiah for the 3.
Pacific out of the Big West. They have made multiple appearances in the NCAA tournament, notably in 2005, and the Huskies played them with both Nate Robinson and Brandon Roy in the second round. Lorenzo said they are a tough out. Very disciplined. 10 on the shot clock, and this is Troyer. And he puts Pacific on the board.
You really want to make Troyer put it on the floor. He was an excellent standstill shooter, but that's showing a little expansion in his game for him to be able to put it on the floor and knock down the jumper.
Troyer, the senior, transferred over from Miami of Ohio. Here's Detman in deep. Got off a beautiful shot between defenders.
Detman here in the first 2 possessions for the Huskies being very aggressive and taking the ball toward the basket.
Work the high screen and roll. Huskies come to double it. And the man who popped out on the wing that gets the open look is Sam Willard.
Yeah, Willard's a more than capable outside shooter along with Brown and LeDuc when he comes off the bench.
Detman and Thomas interchangeable guards. Both play 1, both play 2, depending on what side the ball goes. You see Thomas moving it into the corner. There's Pondexter for the 3.
Good ball reversal. And Isaiah making that extra pass to get Pondexter a wide open look from the corner.
Pondexter came into this game 1 of 5 from 3. Brockman the overplay, has the steal. Brockman elevates to the cup and lays it in.
Yeah, nice job by the Huskies on the defensive end to get up in the passing lanes.
Great start for the Huskies, Francis. They got it to Brockman on the first touch, and they lead by 6.
Yeah, well, John Brockman is, a lot of people don't understand what a good athlete he is, but you see him 30, 35 feet away from the basket, getting his hand in the passing lane and being able to handle the ball in the open court, going to the basket strong for the finish.
Pacific calls the timeout, and the Huskies open up 4 for 4 from the field thus far.
Yeah, well, again, they're moving the ball very efficiently, so it looks like that carryover that Coach Romar was looking for is there with regards to their offensive efficiency.
Welcome in, everybody. Previously watching Kansas beat Missouri. That's always a great matchup. We are here at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle, Washington. Along with Francis Williams and Jen Mueller, I'm Kevin Calabro. The Huskies have jumped out on top of Pacific 10-4. Pacific from the San Joaquin Valley, Stockton, California. Enrollment is 6,100. Inside, this is Brown, and he is double. Good footwork, but did he walk? He sure did.
Nice offensive set, but better defense that time for the Huskies to stop the initial look.
Isaiah Thomas, the fabulously gifted freshman from Curtis High School in Tacoma, Washington. Along with Justin Detman, he is a senior from Carbondale, Illinois. Detman, good look, in and out. Rebound and the putback. That's Pondexter in there working. Brockman tried to pry it free, does to Gant. Will they reset? Thomas will take it back into the mix, and he walks with the basketball.
And he did travel. But one thing we need to mention, even though the Huskies played poorly against Kansas in that game where they got blown out, they did have 17 offensive rebounds in the first half, and that has been a strength of the Husky team this season to really get on the glass.
Brockman had 18 total rebounds. Of course, when you shoot 29%, there's a lot of stuff coming off your way. Nice backdoor lob to Brown. Brockman edges along the inline, and ball coughed up. Pacific will get it back. They have 19 to shoot. Brown, the 5th-year senior, walks with the basketball on another Pacific turnover. And again, defense suffocating Pacific when they kick it into the paint.
Yeah, nice job by Denton to dig down and give Brockman some help on the post. He's going to have to be careful because he's guarding Troyer, and if Brown is able to spot him and find him and he has an open look, he's dangerous from behind the arc.
Ryan LeDuc steps in for Pacific, 6'8", 215 senior from Corona, California. He has the unenviable task of trying to guard Brockman now. Ball outside, tipped away, and Pacific has a 2-on-1. Brockman goaltends, and Pacific will get the bucket.
Nice job by Terrell Smith of the Tigers to get that steal in the open court, makes a nice pass to Ford. Ford gives it right back to him for the layup. Nice way for the young man from Seattle to come in and get his first 2 points at Heckhead Pavilion.
And a timeout called. 22nd timeout, with Washington leading Pacific 10-6. We mentioned the fact that the Huskies are home for a spell. They have 8 in a row beginning this afternoon against this Pacific ball club. Catch more college hoops tonight with the Big 12 Pac-10 Hardwood Series. Corey Higgins and the Colorado Buffaloes battle Anthony Goods and the Stanford Cardinal in an early season showdown. Coverage begins Tonight at 7:30 here on FSN, Tommy Amaker making his first-year maiden voyage as the head coach of the Stanford Cardinal.
Anthony Good's playing well for Stanford at about 21 points per game.
Time running down, and Thomas slipped but pops up, gets it, breaks the zone, drives into the paint, nowhere to go. Got caught in the air and turns it over. Here comes Pacific on a 3-on-2. Troyer on the wing for 3. Weak side rebound grabbed by Quincy Pondexter.
Troyer had 85 threes last year for Pacific. Hasn't shot the ball very well here early in the season. They really need him to get going.
Pacific with a zone, something that we saw Kansas do a great deal of, forcing the Huskies to prove their mettle from beyond the arc. Illegal screen set by Gant, and this will turn it back to Pacific.
Well, you would expect to see a lot of zone here early against the against the Huskies with their shooting woes. So we told Coach Romar early, asked him, did he expect to see some zone, and he said absolutely.
UW has turned it over 4 times, Pacific 3. Chad Troyer. Out on the wing to Brian Leduc. Leduc in some trouble. And Wisely will call a timeout. Again, the Huskies really getting after that basketball. You sense a renewed amount of energy in this game.
Yeah, well, I think Pacific wants to establish a post game as well, trying to get the ball into Willard, Leduc, and Brown. But the Huskies are doing a very good job with the ball pressure and not allowing those passes into the post to be very easy passes. So great job by the Huskies here initially with their half-court defense.
And Isaiah Thomas learning his way along here at the college level. Is a big step up from high school here to the college level. And there is length, there is quickness, and you're meeting it every night.
Yeah, well, Ford, who got that pass there on that replay, he's 6'6", a 6'6" point guard with a lot of length. So that's the type of player that could conceivably give Isaiah some trouble, as he's maybe 5'9".
In this matchup, we watch Isaiah Thomas. We watch Brian Leduc, who's averaging 12 a game coming off the bench for Pacific. Nice high screen set to free the ball handler. The inline, missing inside and around the cup. With Joe Ford. You're not going to get many opportunities like that against this Husky defense from what they've shown in the first 5 minutes. Timeout called on the floor. Huskies off to a good start, leading Pacific 10-6 here in Seattle. College basketball on FSN is brought to you by Emerald Queen Hotel and Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest, and by Sterling Savings Bank, the perfect fit bank. Huskies out in front of Pacific 10-6, along with Jen Bueller and Francis Williams. Kevin Calabro on hand. John Brockman thus far has gotten a few touches inside. He's averaging 18 points, nearly 13 rebounds a game. He is the leading scorer for the Huskies, who use up too much time in backcourt, or did they walk? They walk with the basketball. Turner and Overton just get in, and on the exchange, Turner picks up the pivot foot, and Pacific will take it on the 5th turnover of the afternoon.
Yeah, well, Turner, who's just inserted into the game, a freshman, but if Pacific wants to stay in the zone, he's a very good outside shooter, so I'm sure Coach Romar put him in to be the zone buster.
Pondexter is on, along with Gant and Brockman, and join Overton and Turner. And a whistle. Lorenzo Romar has Vinoy Overton, the sophomore from Franklin High School in Seattle, along with Elston Turner out there coming off the bench. Turner, the 6'4" freshman from Missouri City, Texas, near Houston. Pass inside behind the zone, but again, Pacific unable to convert near the rim. Brockman on the run to Overton. Nice handoff to Gant. The big 1-2 to the glass. Fouled, and it'll be Gant stepping up to the line for a deuce.
Well, when Vinoy Overton comes into the game for Washington, it's typically the defensive tempo of the game really picks up for them. He's a very good on-the-ball defender. You see the miss here by Pacific. Brockman gets the rebound, and Overton, nice job of centering the basketball, finding Gant on the trail, and he has a chance to go to the line and knock down 2.
Darnell from Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles, California. Their famous alumni is a good friend of mine and yours, Francis Marcus Johnson.
Oh, yeah, a lot of history at Crenshaw.
Absolutely. Kevin Ollie, another great one to come out of Crenshaw, who's played in the NBA for a number of years.
We'll have to keep an eye on Washington from the foul line. Gant split those 2 free throws, and that's about where they're shooting as a team right now, about 50%.
Look at Brockman wrestle away the rebound, deflecting it to Elston Turner. The Florida Holiday lobs it low to Brockman. Tremendous reaction inside by Terrell Smith to rip it away. He's got the pick, and Pacific now is in business. This is Joe Ford, the 6'6 junior, picks up the dribble, and he's swarmed. Gets bailed out, and they find Troyer on the wing, but quickly closing out the Husky defense. And Brockman a bit too overzealous down there on the baseline, apparently, and a foul on Brockman.
You see the nice entry pass to the post by Troyer to LeDuc. LeDuc drives the baseline there, and LeDuc's going to come in and be very aggressive offensively. He had 23 points against Nevada in their win the other night, and really sparked that win for Pacific.
Third team foul on the Huskies, and the first on Brockman. And there's a 3 offered up and in from Brian LeDuc, who came into this game hitting 6 of 10 from 3. He's number 1 on this team in scoring at 12 a game. Washington leading Pacific by a deuce. Justin Holiday from Chatsworth, California in the lineup. Holiday is a sophomore. Pondexter didn't have a lot of space. He'll dump it outside. 12 to shoot now for the Huskies. Swing it back to Pondexter. He hesitated and clutched when he let the 3 go, and the long rebound gathered in by Pacific. Bob Thomason, in his 21st year coaching here at Pacific, has a very disciplined Pacific basketball team. They won 21 a year ago. Did not make the tournament. Newville into the lane, hard take, but Brian Ammoning deters him, and Overton the other way. Doesn't have numbers. He'll back it out. What did Holiday see there?
I think the ball just slipped out of his hand. I think he wanted to reverse it to Turner in the corner. But the zone, the last possession for Washington, the zone really stifled them. They really had nowhere to go. They kind of got content with passing the ball around the perimeter. They're going to have to get that ball in the inside and continue to do like they were before and attack that zone from the inside out.
Overton really working Newville there. 23 to shoot for Pacific. And a bump foul called out on top, and this will be the 15th foul on the Huskies.
A smaller lineup in for the Huskies right now. And the Huskies stay in the man-to-man, so Pacific offensively goes to a 4-around-1, and they're really trying to isolate Brown on the post against Brian Ammoning.
That's the first foul on Pondexter, and actually the 4th team foul on Washington. I'm impressed the way the Huskies extend their defense. Look at Overton search his man in the corner. Now Overton will give him to Brian Ammoning, and they double him up. And Ammoning got a hand on it, deflects it to midcourt, and out of bounds. Last touch by Pacific and Brian LeDuc.
Yep. Point guard has been a area of concern for Pacific. So any of those high pick and rolls, or any time the ball is out front, you see the Huskies double teaming the Pacific point guards, and they're going to make them make decisions and handle the basketball. And so far, it's been real effective.
Overton and Thomas now the guard tandem. Huskies have scored just a free throw in the last 5 and change.
And that's good offense to get the ball inside against the zone.
Pondexter scoring as Brockman has gone to the bench. Here's Brian Ammoning slipping his man and deflecting it away for the pick. Pondexter the crossover into the lane to lay it up and in. An excellent screen set down there to get him free.
Absolutely. Brian Ammoning did a very nice job. But Quincy Pondexter, the Huskies are waiting for him to wake up and to get him going offensively. That's 2 nice offensive possessions for Pondexter and the Huskies.
Pondexter comes in averaging a half dozen a ball game. Inside, this is Brown, Anthony Brown, with a little toss hook up and in.
And that's where Pacific feels they have an advantage with this group, and they're trying to get the ball in there. They were finally able to do so, and you got a good look.
Huskies by 4. Brian Ammoning, and that was all set up by that terrific pump fake.
Show and go, absolutely. Good patient move by Brian Ammoning.
Ammoning is capable of scoring. He played in the U20 league over in England, and actually in European league at 41-point effort against Czechoslovakia. But that's not what they need primarily from him. At 6'9", 235, he can make a little noise in deep with his presence, as he does right there with that screen.
Well, that particular possession, the only thing we probably is just highlight the double team. We saw Overton leave his man and go double team. Okay. Stop it right there. Yep. Okay. All right.
Substitutions during the timeout. Checking in for Pacific. Huskies by a half dozen. Just about halfway through this first half of play. Francis, what are you seeing out there right now?
Well, the one thing I really like is the defensive pressure that the Huskies are applying out front. They've been pretty stifling at making Pacific put the basketball on the floor. Seeing this possession here, anytime they've had a chance to double team the point guard, you'll see Vanoy Overton leave his man, and he'll come and he'll double team right here, and everybody else will just zone up back on the backside and just try to take those passing lanes away.
Matthew Brian Ammoning comes out along with Overton and Pondexter and Thomas. Detman out there as well. Pacific off to a 5 for 11 shooting start. The Huskies at 7 for 11. Nice hard drive into the lane, and scoring it is Brian Leduc.
And that was good recognition by Leduc. They know that that double team is coming, so he slipped that pick and went to the basket, and they were able to get the ball to him for the easy layup.
Denman watching as Thomas curls off the screen. The little lefty gets in and is fouled in the act and shoots two.
So Leduc, as we said, coming off a 23-point performance against Nevada and Pacific's last game. See him here just go to the basket, find a clear area, and go up strong and get the two.
Foul on Leduc. That's his first. And Isaiah Thomas at the free throw line. He is coming into this game shooting 71% on 20 of 28. Pacific shooting at even 50%. Huskies 7 for 11. With 2 of 3 falling from 3 for the Dogs. And Thomas misses both free throws.
Again, good ball pressure by Overton and good overplay by Thomas to get in the passing lanes. They have Pacific running their offense about 25, 30 feet away from the basket.
James Duran, senior from Cameron Park, California, is in the lineup now for Pacific. Ball got away. Leduc finds it, tried to slip it inside. Good anticipation as Detman fronts the post, has the pick, steers it up the floor. Brockman fronted. Pondexter had a look. 24 to shoot. Overton, nice pass. Brian Ammoning with the bucket and is fouled and goes to the line.
You have to be impressed with the Huskies guards and their interior passing. That's the second or third time that Overton or Thomas or Detman has been able to get into the paint and drop it off to one of the big guys for an easy bucket.
Second foul on Leduc.
And a healthy Brian Ammoning will really help the Huskies down low. He's a big body, as you said, had a great summer playing with the under-20s over in Great Britain. And once they get him healthy, they're really expecting to lean on him heavily inside. Now they miss another free throw, though. That's a real bugaboo for the Huskies.
Washington coming into this game as a team shooting 61% from the line. They're 1 of 5 in this game. Pacific with 19 to shoot. Down it goes for James Doran, just in the lineup from 3-point range. Pacific showing great poise and patience, trailing by 3. Ammoning hurried the pass to Overton in the corner and threw it out of bounds. And again, the turnovers, Francis, start to crop up on this Husky ball club.
Yeah, well, between the turnovers and the missed free throws, that's really right now what's keeping Pacific in the basketball game. Pacific looking for some offense. They insert Doran, who's an excellent outside shooter. Ford was able to get into the paint and find the open guy, and Doran knocked down that shot, and that's what they need from him. They're still right there.
Pardon me, 8 turns on Washington, 7 to Pacific, and again they are doubled, and a timeout called. Waiting for him at the 10-second line was Brockman and company.
Well, they're going to continue to apply that pressure out front. Ford made the 2 mistakes of, number 1, dribbling to the corner, and then he dribbles into the corner where he can get trapped, and then he picks up his dribble. So he had nowhere to go but to call that timeout, and I'm sure Coach Thomason is letting him have it about that right now.
More Pac-10 basketball comes your way this week on FSN. The Washington State Cougars take on Idaho State this Tuesday from Pullman, and the Huskies will battle the Oklahoma State Cowboys on Thursday night as part of the Big 12 Pac-10 Hardwood Series. It's all this week right here on FSN. Cougars off to a great start. Gonzaga off to a tremendous start as well. College hoops in the state of Washington getting better and better. Huskies on top by 3. Pacific ball with 15 to shoot. Pick and slip, nowhere to go outside. This is Troyer for 3. And Darnell Gant may have pushed off in pursuit of the loose ball. Second foul on Gant. And the Huskies at the limit of 6. Reset of the shot clock for Pacific. Joe Ford, the junior from Campbell High School in Altadena, California, feeding left side of the shooter. And cashing in is Chad Troyer.
Watch out. If he gets going, he can really knock him down from the outside.
Troyer, however, has struggled in their 3 previous games, shooting just 22%. So you're right, keep a lid on him. Here's Thomas with it. On the high screen, hesitation, dribble, drive. Gant with 16 to shoot. Not sure that's the one you want, but hey, you get an open look.
Well, I think Gant is capable of making that mid-range jump shot, but again, the extra pass by the Huskies gives them an opportunity to get an open shot.
Huskies with a streaky shooting start. They were 4-4. They went 0 for 4, and since then they've hit 5 in a row. Gant the rebound. Denman will run. He's got Thomas veering out on the left side. He'll go to the rim and is fouled.
Continuing to stay aggressive, but again, they're doing what they need to do as far as getting the ball inside and getting the ball there with penetration as well. They're getting to the line, but now they've got to make some free throws, and if they can make the free throws, they'll be in good shape. Good pass by Thomas to Holiday. Holiday finds Gant. Gant knocks down that elbow jump shot. Good looking shot there by the youngster.
But again, all about the penetration, driving, getting into the paint. This Pacific team is a long team, but they don't have a lot of width. They don't have space eaters inside. So you're going to have some driving lanes.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of foot speed either. I think I was a little surprised that they went away from the zone, because the zone was fairly effective for them.
All right, we got 1, fellas, 1.
Justin Dentman at the line comes in shooting 78% this year and drills 2 here. After the made free throw, Elston Turner will come up. He'll pick up the ball 80 feet. Works Joe Ford at midcourt. Ford will drive right to the cup as the Huskies forgot to keep an eye on the ball.
They were so concerned about pressuring the lanes. All the guys lost sight of the basketball and gave him that lane for the layup.
Brockman wants it, but he's pushed up the lane. He's got an elbow jumper up and in.
Good shot. Turner also has to contain Ford out front too. He has the responsibility of not allowing Ford to just dribble by him, so he's got to do a better job of containing Ford off the dribble.
Brockman with 4 points is 2 for 2. Ford double team, picks up the ball, may need help, he'll get it. Skip pass, Troyer open with balance, missed it. Elston Turner. Brockman inside digging for the rebound, and a foul called. This will go against Pacific for the bump.
So So Brockman gets the ball here, just turns and faces. That's something that he's added to his game that makes him a very effective scorer.
Timeout called on the floor. Huskies lead here in Seattle. Well, Huskies out on top of Pacific by 5, 7:27 to go here in the first half. Washington shooting 67%. Ball movement has been good, and when they have had a mind to, they've been able to get it through cracks and into the paint for buckets.
Yeah, offensively they've been pretty efficient. The problem that they've had is they had 8 turnovers here in the first half, and they've missed 4 free throws. So you couple those 2 statistics there, and they become a little bit more efficient in those 2 areas. They'll be doing a good job.
Well, Huskies are up to 7 team fouls, and that'll put Pacific at the line. And the foul before the break was on John Brockman. That is the second on Brockman. So Lorenzo's got to reel in Brockman. He goes to the bench. Casey Niemeyer at the line, the 1-and-1, and hits the first. He's a junior from Woodland, California. 6'8" and 240. Dentman is on along with Thomas and Gant, Turner, and now Holiday.
Pacific in the 1-2-2 zone now, so they can get out on the wings, maybe take away some of those outside shots, but right where you should go, right to that mid-post, high-post area there will be shots there.
Gant got a good look. Straight away, 2 ball. Gant with a rebound. Thomas has the step. Couldn't elevate over the Pacific defense. Ford comes down with it. Ahead to Doran. Dentman may have been out of bounds when he had a hand on the ball. He was, and Pacific will get it back.
Well, you see Pacific trying to take advantage of getting to the glass with Brockman out of the game.
Terrell Smith is back in. Smith from Federal Way, Washington. The team with Durant. 6:32 to go in the first half. Anthony Brown is back in as well. And a walk called on Pacific, and Pacific has had their difficulties as well with the turnovers. That is their 8th of the game, so both clubs with 8 turns, Francis.
Yeah, and Pacific came in averaging only 10 turnovers per game, so this is a very high number for them, but the Husky pressure is what I would attribute that to.
Pacific again in that zone. Thomas surveys the scene. He'll swing it. Dexter double. Pacific really bringing a lot of people to the far side. So a skip pass may work. Thomas with 9 to shoot. Wriggles into the lane. Double clutches and scores. Brilliant move by Thomas.
He just has a knack of being able to get in there and understands angles. And with that little left-hand shot of his, it's kind of unorthodox, but we've been able to watch him around here do that for a long time, and he's just an uncanny scorer around the basket at his size.
Powerful jump stop too, huh, Francis?
Absolutely.
Just really exploded. 5 points for Thomas. Holiday picks up the foul, and again Pacific will get the chance at the 1-and-1. Brockman will come back in, and remember, John playing with the 2 fouls at the 5:45 mark here of the first half. But he's not a guy that, when he gets himself a few early fouls, lets himself go. He's pretty good about measuring himself.
He knows how to remain physical, which is a large part of his game, but still be smart. And I would be surprised if he picked up a 3rd foul unless it was something really inadvertent.
LeVar Newville hit the first, missed the second. Pacific from the Big West trailing by 5, and Newville reaching in on Overton. This will be the 5th team foul on the Tigers.
Well, Newville is the one guard that Pacific has that, as far as speed and quickness, he can match up with the Husky backcourt. So I could see him maybe when they stay in the man-to-man defense, where he can put some pressure out on the ball and maybe try to change the flow of the game defensively a little bit.
Dexter jabs left, moves right, high hanging hook, 10 feet away, missed it. Good recovery, stays with the play. Reset of the shot clock. Pondexter everywhere. He's omnipresent out there, and the crowd loves it. Overton splits a pair of defenders. Drives and kicks. And another turnover as Holiday took steps.
Well, a nice job by Quincy Pondexter to track down that offensive board. He brings it out to Overton. And again, the Huskies are getting some good looks. It's just the turnovers right now that are keeping them from really opening up this game.
9 turns on Washington. They're forcing plenty. Pondexter again is around the ball. It's deflected away by Pacific, out of bounds. Last touching that was Sam Willard. Troyer's going to come back in. And Brian Ammoning back in as well for Washington.
Huskies rotating in 9 different players here in the first half, so they should be fresh if they can survive the first half. With Brockman only having 2 fouls, they should be in pretty good shape for the second half.
But they've got to take care of the basketball. Here's Thomas with it. Mid block to Brockman. Outside to Overton. Brockman now will readjust, will get it. Ball fakes and drives, and reaching in to get a piece. Pacific's big man over there, Sam Willard.
The officials are not allowing the players to put any hands on guys out on the perimeter. Any hand checking at all, it's a foul.
And they've been consistent. Vern Harris and Ruben Ramos and Bill Kennedy are officials. Foul on Willard is his second. Team 6th. Look out on the inbounds. Thomas has it slapped away, and a good hustle play. Very alert defense. LeVar Neuville.
Neuville again, speed and quickness wise, he can do some things defensively to affect this game.
Overton looking for Thomas. Throws off the screen. Back to Overton. Nice pass. And around the cup again is Pondexter for the putback.
Yeah, he's been very effective on the offensive glass. They just don't have an answer for him.
9.6 rebounds for Quincy, and he's hit 4 of 8 from the field. Largest lead held by the Huskies now at 7 points. Brian Ammoning rips it. Thomas the show and go. Drifts in. Hard banker. Won't fall. Pacific is on the run. The Huskies fill the paint. Neuville's got to turn it outside to a trailer. Anthony Brown turns and twists. Nice move as he was able to muster enough to get it up over Matthew.
It was a good job by Brown to run the floor in transition and establish a low post position there so they could get him the ball. Nice little jump hook.
Pacific's already had a taste of the Pac-10. They lost at Cal to open the year 68-58. Cal with their new coach, what's that guy's name? Mike Montgomery?
Mike Montgomery.
Yeah, that name's familiar. Why is that a familiar name?
It'll be strange to see him on the Cal sidelines as opposed to the Stanford sidelines.
Timeout called, 3:21 to go in the half, and the Huskies in Seattle lead the Pacific Tigers 29-24. Huskies out on top of Pacific 29-24, 3:21 to go in the first half from the Bank of America Arena here in Seattle, Washington. Francis Williams, Quincy Pondexter right now really working hard around the rim.
Well, the 5 offensive rebounds that he has and the 9 points right now are probably the difference in the game for Washington. And as we said earlier, they need him to step up and pick up his game. We've been waiting for that explosion from him, but the one thing that he has been consistently doing is going to the glass, as Coach Romar told us when we spoke with him earlier today.
Junior from Fresno, California, in the last 5 games of last season, averaged 15 points, 6 rebounds, and shot 51%. Husky woes from the line continue as Brockman on the front end misses. And Washington now just 3 for 8 from the line, while shooting 52% from the field. 3 minutes to go in the first half. This is Brown. Troyer. Nice readjustment after the pump fake, banked it in.
We said earlier, you got to be careful if you double off of Troyer, because if he gets a good look, he can knock those shots down.
Troyer played at Seattle Prep. with Martell Webster, teammate. Here's Isaiah Thomas, shifts it left side to Benoit Overton. 16 to shoot for Washington. Brian Ammoning wants it and will get it. Backs, bumps, turns, hooks, and scores. Nice little twist and turn in there.
That's a good move, and on that, he's just too big and strong for Anthony Brown in that position on the post. They'll have to give him some help down there, or he'll be able to turn and score all night.
Ammoning 6'9", 235. Big target, 2:12 to go first half. And again, they feed the post to Brown, and he walks to the basketball as Pondexter and Ryan Ammoning converge.
Well, the Huskies were very patient in that offensive set coming out of the timeout. They finally got a mismatch where they could get the ball and do something with it, and Ammoning just read the defense and made a strong move, turned to the baseline, and nice job of kissing it off the glass.
Scott Suggs in the lineup, fine-looking freshman, 6'6", out of Washington, Missouri. He was the Mr. Basketball of the state of Missouri last year. He's appeared in 2 games previously this year for the Huskies. Suggs and Thomas, Brockman, Brian Ammoning, and Overton. And it's Overton driving into the lane to lay it up and in.
Just good ball movement. The Huskies have had a lot of success in that left baseline over there of attacking that side of the Pacific defense.
Huskies open up this 7-point lead again.
See the Huskies go to double team out front again against those point guards, but a reach and another foul.
And so this time it'll be LeVar Neufville again to the free throw line. And Pacific thus far at the line, 2 for 4. The foul is on Benoit Overton. That is his second. Neufville, the junior college transfer from Fairfield, California. Pacific in the Big West Conference. Last year they were represented by Cal State Fullerton in the NCAA tournament. Cal State Northridge was a co-regular season title champion as well in the Big West, but did not make the tournament. 21-10 overall, 11-5 in conference. And Coach Bob Thomason has had them to the NCAA as recently as 06. They were there in 97, 05, 04, and 06. As we mentioned earlier, they met the Huskies in the second round of the tournament in 05 and lost to a very good Washington team led by Brandon Roy and Nate Robinson. Huskies up 33-26. A minute left now in the first half. Dentman, the open look, and he cans a 3.
Well, Dentman came into the game shooting 47% from behind the arc, and he's continued his hot shooting.
In fact, that for Dentman with the 3 gives them 4 of 6 shooting out beyond the arc. Neufville will pull up, miss it. Pondexter the rebound, 37 seconds left, and the Huskies up 10.
Opportunity for the Huskies to go for the last shot here. Just about a 3-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
So Thomas will widen it out. He'll look to the bench. Lorenzo Romar will shift Pondexter up top at the elbow. See Brian Ammoning in deep. Dentman to Thomas. High screen allowing Thomas to step. Scoops it up. Good as a pass. Pondexter redirects it. Won't go. Pondexter goes down. Ball comes free. Thomas will score it, but they say no basket. Well, Thomas steps over the fallen body of Pondexter and was able to sneak one in, but it will not count. Take a look again at the carnage down there, Fred.
Well, again, Thomas goes to his left as always. Pondexter with another offensive rebound. Brown gets it, can't clear it, loses it. You see 4 bodies on the floor, but the bucket was just a little late.
Halftime score, Huskies 36, Tigers 26. Let's send it down to the College Hoops Northwest Studios. Angie Menting standing by with Lamar Hurd. Welcome everybody to Seattle, Washington, where halfway through the Washington Huskies lead Pacific from the Big West, 36-26. Huskies back home after playing in the O'Reilly Classic at the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri, a game that they did not play very well at all, shooting just 29% in the loss to Kansas, but responded, rebounded after losing by 19 to the Jayhawks to lose by 2 to the Gators. Before the game, Francis Williams, Lorenzo Romar says, I can't wait to see how our team responds. Now coming back from Kansas City, and they responded by getting into the paint and to the cup.
Yeah, they did. Well, it started with the defensive pressure. They were able to get some steals and get out in the open court, and that just allowed them to really set the pace for this game. You saw Isaiah Thomas get into the paint. You saw Quincy Pondexter pounding the offensive glass, and then finally just a low post isolation to Brian Omning where he can make a nice patient move and kiss it off the glass.
The numbers: 54% shooting for Washington Pacific, 11 of 25. Three-point shooting, 3 of 5 for Washington. Free throws, however, Washington 3 for 8. They turned the ball over 9 times, but did force 10 turnovers. Points in the paint, there it is, 16-10 advantage for the Huskies. So I assume, rather than the pointing out the obvious, Francis, which would be, let's take care of the basketball, what else is Lorenzo Romar talking to his club about at half?
Well, I'm sure that he was happy with the defensive intensity and the fact that they really got after Pacific on the defensive end and caused a lot of havoc. But as you said, the obvious things are we've got to shoot the basketball better from the foul line. We did a good job of getting to the foul line, and we've got to take care of the ball. We can't turn it over 9 times in the half again.
Skip pass thrown cross court, and the ball to the sideline and out of bounds. Over there was Chad Troyer making the catch in front of Coach Thomason. Let's go down to the court and find out what the coach had to say. Jen Mueller.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned Pacific's 11 for 25 shooting in the first half, and the coaching staff made a point of telling the team, you guys need to take better shots in the second half and really get good looks. On the other side, the Huskies were focusing on screening and ball movement. They want Quincy Pondexter, who's got the ball right now, to be able to set some more screens inside to get open inside. So look for that in the second half, guys.
And he bangs and bumps with Terrell Smith, and Smith got him for the foul.
Well, that's one of the problems Pacific has. Terrell Smith, who starts for the Tigers at the 3, is only about 6'3", maybe 6'4". So in his matchup against Pondexter, when Pacific's in the man-to-man, the Huskies should concentrate on getting him the ball down low.
Pondexter needs a timeout. He should have plenty of help right in front of his bench. And Washington, did they call the timeout? They did not. Huskies on the 5-second turn it over to Pacific. Averaging 17 a game are the Huskies. That's their 10th here in the afternoon. Well, that should never happen in front of your own bench. 24 to shoot, Pacific with it. Troyer with it. And Gant did not give enough space inside on the pivot move. Brian LeDuc had it on the block, and already the first team foul on the Huskies and the 3rd foul on Gant.
Well, interestingly, Pacific did not start Anthony Brown here in the second half. We'll have to check and see if he's injured or if it's just Coach Thomason trying to send him a little message of not being very effective in the first half.
Or maybe Casey Niemeyer has a little more heft. He is 6'8", 240, and you're going to need somebody in there to battle Brockman. Huskies tip it out of bounds. It'll be Pacific basketball. Sluggish start for the Huskies here in the second half. Niemeyer wants the ball in deep, but they'll swing it up top. Troyer comes off the screen, pick and fade. The Huskies covered beautifully, responding out there with Gant. Intercepted by Thomas. And Terrell Smith riding him down the floor, and the foul's called out on the floor.
Yeah, well, that was a great job of having quick hands by Isaiah Thomas. Terrell Smith gets a little careless with the basketball out front, and Isaiah Thomas just reaches in, pokes it away, and again, with that left hand, he's going to go strong to the basket.
Second foul on Smith. Quick inbounds. Pondexter, nice ball fake. Hops and scores.
And that's the matchup we just talked about. Smith is giving away 3 or 4 inches down there, and the Huskies should exploit that until Pacific does something to switch it up.
Huskies up a dozen, their largest lead. Joe Ford handling. Rips it through, drives. Pondexter trying to catch up, clipped him from the side, a foul, and shots coming to Ford.
Quincy Pondexter being very aggressive here today. Just has a total mismatch against Terrell Smith down on the low block. Pacific does not choose to double him, so that's just an easy turn and look to the basket for Pondexter, who's about 6'7", and Smith goes about 6'3".
Second foul on Quincy on the play, sending Ford to the line, and that snaps an 8-0 run. The Huskies had held, carried back to the first half. Here comes Brown in for Niemeyer. Pondexter in the first half at 9 points and 9 rebounds. Ford's free throw comes off. This is Justin Dentman with Darnell Gant. Better get it across. Deftly done. Spins away from a double team. Thomas wants to balance the floor with 16 to shoot.
Pacific goes back to the zone because they were just totally overmatched inside when they were in the man-to-man.
Pondexter keeps it alive and Brockman cleans it up.
Yep, and then there's the risk you have when you go zone. You don't really have a man to check out. You got to have a tough rebounder from the weak side, and that time the Huskies just crashed the glass as they've done all season long.
Well, I think he should get a rebound credit there. That was a controlled tip off the window. Here's Ford now with 19 to shoot. Oh, he uses the free hand to gain an advantage on Pondexter, but the Huskies come the other way. Dentman goes right to the body of Troyer and draws the foul.
Justin Dentman takes that shot from the outside. As we mentioned, the Huskies have been just tenacious on the offensive glass all season long. 17 offensive rebounds in the first half against Kansas, and there's an example again. Tipped by Pondexter, Brockman cleans up the garbage.
Well, that free throw thing just permeates the team. Here's the guy shooting 78% from the line coming into the game, and Dentman misses this one. And the Huskies, Francis, as a team, are 3 for 9.
Yeah, it's been an area of concern going back to last season because the Huskies lost so many games coming down the stretch with some poor foul shooting.
Washington up 14.
And again, they trap point guards out front, then just zone up, try to get in the passing lanes and make them try to make the correct decision.
Terrell Smith, nice setup to the big man. Sliding to the glass was Brian Leduc.
Good job by Terrell Smith to get into the lane and use the bounce pass.
Dentman finds Thomas open.
Again, Pondexter on the offensive glass.
Look at him just muscle up, and he draws the foul, and the crowd loves the effort from Quincy Pondexter.
Well, as you mentioned, Kevin, he had 9 rebounds in the first half, 6 of those on the offensive end, and he's just picking up where he left off in the first half again, going to the glass strong. Now we got to make some free throws.
Starter in all 5 previous games. Pondexter has a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds. Sam Willard will step in for Pacific, and Brian Leduc retires to the bench. Pondexter missing, but tips it alive, and it is controlled by Newville of Pacific. Thomas moving right with Newville, 25 to shoot. Huskies come out, trap the ball. Smith terminates the dribble.
They've got Brown on a mismatch with Thomas inside if they could have seen him.
Dentman knocked down, and an offensive foul on Pacific gives it back to Washington. With a timeout on the court at 5, make it 15:57 to play here in the second half. It's all Huskies right now, up 13. Washington at home leading Pacific 42-29. Let's take a look now at our Les Schwab league leaders. Well, leader of the pack. Talking about Lorenzo Romar. Active Pac-10 coaches with the most career wins at the school, 121. Romar right behind Ernie Kent and Ben Howland at UCLA. Well, Ernie's way up there, 214. Got a young ball club this year.
Yeah, he does. He does. They'll be relying heavily on Porter to try to lead that team until they get the youngsters into the fold.
Can't wait to see Porter and Thomas square off. Speed on speed.
There,
Two
there you
mighty
go.
mites.
There you go.
Denton handling. Pacific in a zone. Matthew Bryant Ammoning. He had some moments in the first half. He's in there with Brockman up front with Pondexter as well. And Denton with 3 in his sights.
Denton has really shot the ball well here early in the season for the Huskies.
Newville throws it to the coach. Coach throws it to Joe Ford. Joe Ford in the game. Newville departs. That's the way that works. Cause and effect, right?
Yeah, well, we knew coming into the game that they had some point guard issues, and obviously in their scout, the Huskies have recognized that as well, and it has just been no consistent guard play out front with the point guards. And Justin Denton for the Huskies, who shoot the ball extremely well, really did a good job in the offseason of getting his body together. He's a lot slimmer, a lot sleeker, he's in a lot better physical condition, and I think that has really allowed him to get off to this good start here, that he finally, going into his senior season, paid attention to his body, and he's looking real solid and real strong right now.
Anthony Brown holds Brockman. Huskies bring it in bounds. Brian Ammoning pulls it out of the clutter, sticks it back, won't go. Huskies very active in the offensive glass, just as they were in the loss to Kansas. Of course, part of that is the function of their 29% shooting against the Jayhawks. Here's 14:41 now showing on the clock. And Pacific on the attack. It's Brown inside, and he is fouled. Brown will shoot too.
Brown got a few good looks in the first half, not very many, but I think Coach Thomason was just not happy with his approach to the game when he came in. He was being real tentative when he got the ball, and that time you see he got the ball and turned and went strong to the basket and drew that foul.
First foul on Matthew Brian Ammoning. MBA is his known. So if we refer to a player out there as MBA, you know who we're talking about. Anthony Brown steps up. Brown, coming into this game, averaged 4 turnovers per game, but was tied for the team lead in points at 12 a game. Now, we should point out that Pacific had a disciplinary problem in the summer that resulted in the banishment of 2 of their starting players from last year's squad, who presumably would be starting for this team this year.
Yeah, they were expecting to be the prohibitive favorite in the Big West, and as you said earlier, Fullerton and Northridge are probably the favorites right now. But yeah, those 3 players that did leave the program, had they been a part of this group, they were going to be very strong and about 10 deep.
In fact, one of them was a point guard, the incumbent point guard on this team.
Yes, well, and one of the kids, Stephon Johnson, was another part of that Seattle pipeline that Pacific has, and he's now at the University of Idaho. He was a first-team All-Big West player last year.
Overton to the base. Nice setup. Brockman beneath the rim. Powers it in.
Well, Overton got lucky that time because he went baseline. He had nowhere to go, but you're good to have a grown man down there that you know you can make that pass to and he'll catch it.
6 minutes gone by in the half. And the Huskies open up a 17-point lead. This is Smith. A little extra boost as he got up in the air on that one.
Yeah, that was a tough shot for Terrell Smith in the lane there.
Brockman on the wing will tee it up. Joe Ford the rebound for Pacific. Drive all the way to the paint and score it.
Back-to-back buckets for the Tigers. Been a while.
And the Huskies want a timeout with possession of the ball and a 13-point lead with 13:35 left here in the half. We'll be back with more Husky basketball as Pacific has ventured to Seattle for the holidays. Huskies up 13 with 13:35 left here in the second half. Kids coming back to the neighborhood playing for Pacific. We start with Terrell Smith.
Well, Terrell Smith out of Federal Way High School, first team All-State, led the Federal Way team in scoring at almost 26 points a game his senior year. Had a nice freshman year last year at Pacific last year, but he's a part of the Seattle pipeline that we mentioned earlier. He's a very accomplished scorer, and as he gets more comfortable in this system, you will see him score more points. Chad Troyer from Seattle Prep was a teammate of Martell Webster's when he was there. Excellent outside shooter. Transferred to Pacific from Miami of Ohio, 2 years there, and then sat out the season, and then is now in his senior year at Miami of Ohio. And then in the crowd, Sterling Carter, who is a senior at Franklin High School here in Seattle. They signed him this past season, and although he's injured right now, will not be able to play his senior season at Franklin. They're expecting big things from him when he enters the Pacific program next year.
On the handoff, Brockman to Overton, slapped off of Overton and out of bounds. Huskies come out with Elston Turner on the floor, the true freshman, along with John Brockman, Brian Ammoning, Overton, and Holiday, who will pick up the ball at midcourt.
We've got a couple of high school teammates playing against each other there at the point. Ford and Holiday were high school teammates at Campbell Hall High School down in Southern California.
Official part of the playing surface, and unfortunately, cost the Huskies possession of the basketball. Take a look. The officials are part of the scene.
Yep, he's part of the court, and unfortunately for the Huskies, he was in the way. But Ford and Holiday, high school teammates, Campbell Hall High School down in Southern Cal. Drew Holiday, freshman at UCLA, was a freshman when his brother was a sophomore, and Ford was a senior, and they had an undefeated state championship season.
Foul called inside as Pacific was able to get it down to the block. And this is Sam Willard stepping up to the line. Fouls on Brian Ammoning. That is his second, and the 4th team foul on the Huskies. There's a look at Justin Holiday, long, 6'6", sophomore, Chatsworth, California. Justin Dentman calls him the fireman.
The fireman, okay.
Because of his defensive prowess. He said when things are burning and we need somebody to put out the fire, we send in our man Justin Holiday. Long, spidery arm.
Well, the Huskies were right in there for his brother Drew, who chose UCLA, but came down to UCLA in Washington, and the Huskies were almost blessed to have both Holidays here. Boy, that would have been a real coup for the Huskies.
Just when you think all the freakish athletes moved on to the NBA, Drew Holiday shows up down there at UCLA.
Yeah, there's another good group of freshmen coming into the Pac-10. He's probably the one that comes in the most decorated, but there's a bunch of them. And when you have 7 guys leave in the first round of the NBA draft, it spoke very highly to the level of competition in the Pac-10 last year.
And some good ones in the second round. Kyle Weaver, Washington State.
Yeah.
Richard Mute.
Yes, you're right.
Harden at California. Skip pass. Ford to the inline. Nice find. Turner with a rebound. 47-35 Huskies. And chopping his steps was Elston. That's a turnover. Huskies have played this way in the first half. They've had moments of brilliance, and then they just seem to leave their brains on the other end of the floor.
Well, that consistency that Coach Romar was looking for, or the carryover from the Florida game into this game, we've had glimpses of it, but I think right now, it is something that they cannot do. They are playing down to their competition right now.
5-0 Pacific run, and a foul called in pursuit of the rebound on Washington. And non-shooting foul. The Pacific staff said he was in the act of controlling the tip back to the bucket. They didn't see it that way. That is the 15th foul on Washington. And it is the 3rd foul on Vanoy Overton. So Pacific working with the reset. Ward trying to put it back up. He got hammered to the court and no whistle. Willard comes up with the rebound. Barrett inside, reverse pivot, scoop. No, Pondex to the rebound.
Ford's a 6'6" point guard, so he can do some things around the basket.
Brian Ammoning comes open. Powers up with a little reverse pivot, and he's fouled in the act of shooting. That kid has very nice fundamental footwork.
He's creates a wide base down there and has good hands. At 6'9", 240, he's going to be a load for a lot of people during the upcoming season.
Well, this Washington team has taken a 12-point lead here at 11:28 of the second half. With John Brockman, let's face it, having, by Brockman standards, a so-so game. 8 points, 3 rebounds. That's a good sign for the Huskies.
That is a good sign. I mean, he comes in averaging 18 points and almost 13 rebounds per game. So today, Pondexter has picked up the slack. Dentman has done a nice job from the outside. Brian Omening has established himself down on the post. So again, they need to be able to spread the wealth, because as you get deeper into the season and people start scouting you and taking things away, Brockman is probably not going to be able to just have his way the way he has here early in the season with everyone.
Jen Mueller was down near the Washington bench during that last timeout as Brockman goes to the bench, Jen.
Even when Brockman's on the bench, though, Kevin, he's still involved in the game. He's always the first one to give high fives coming off the court, especially to Quincy Pondexter on that last play. And I got to think, guys, that if John Brockman is giving anybody props about defense and playing inside, that's a pretty good sign for the way things are going, right?
I would think so. Omening, it's 1 of 2 at the line, and foul called as, again, Pacific down there in the half court operating. Huskies now at the limit of 6. Foul called on Thomas. That's his first. Go forward, met by Elston Turner. That name is familiar. Elston Turner played for a number of years in the NBA. And currently with the Houston Rockets, along with Jack Sikma, coaching the Houston Rockets, assistant to Rick Adelman. Thomas careens into Ford. Ford, dramatic, falling down, nearly rolling out of the building, but selling the call.
Well, Thomas coming full speed on that dribble. Ford guessed right that he was going to go left and got the benefit of the doubt on the call. But good defensive position that time by Ford.
Pacific will bring it up. 10:49 left here in the second half. The Huskies have not decided this issue yet. They're up 11. Pacific showing signs of life. Brown catches it awfully deep and lays it up and in.
They've been kind of going in and out with Newmeyer and Brown down here on the post, and they have been able to get it in there. And I think if they just continue to pound it, they haven't lost contact. It's a 3-possession game. 10 minutes to go. They're right there.
And this is exactly what Romar told us before the game. They're a team that will maintain contact with you, give themselves a chance to win. They're very disciplined.
Huskies need to go back to where they had their advantage, though. Pondexter hasn't really touched it down on the block in a few minutes.
Dentman splits a pair of defenders, and the running right-hander up and in. Beautifully done.
Nice job by Dentman to split that double team, and a nice little floater, little runner there in the lane. Nice soft touch.
Dentman leads the Huskies with 13. Pondexter has a dozen. Brockman's on the floor. He's got 8. Ford shifts it over to Smith. Troyer inside to Brown, draws the crowd. Kick out to Smith, drives, leaves it for Brown. Bad pass, hit him at the knees.
Yeah, that's a tough interior pass there on the move, trying to get the ball to the big guy. But a good defensive recovery that time by the Huskies also, because Smith looked like he had a wide open shot.
Dentman wide open, and a good find from Elston Turner. Dentman just inside the 3-point arc.
Yeah, nice job again by Dentman, just getting to the open spot, and the Huskies make that extra pass. And as we mentioned earlier, Dentman has really played well here early in the season, and he's continuing his strong play and really shooting the ball well.
5 of 8 from the field for Dentman. 2 of 4 from 3. Ford misses the runner. And a rebound hauled in by Gant. Turner does a nice job of handling the ball out here and setting the floor for his teammates, doesn't he?
Well, he has a nice feel for the game. As you mentioned, his dad played in the NBA, is now coaching in the NBA, so he has that in his blood, so to speak. But he understands his role, and as a freshman, he has really come in and really not had very many instances where he's been out of control. So he does have a kind of a steadying influence out there, which is a lot to say and to give him credit for as a true freshman.
His dad was an assistant down in Sacramento for a while. He was at Roseville High School there in Sacramento, and then Dad got the job down in Texas. Finished the high school career at Elston Turner and Elkin High School outside of Houston. His club went 31-4. Here's Pondexter now at the line. He rolls in the first free throw. How are we doing free throw wise here? The Huskies are 7 of 15. Second is up and in.
Coach Romar showed a lot of confidence in Turner as a freshman, as he was a part of that group that closed out that Florida game when they were within one shot of tying it up and sending it into overtime.
So we had 4 youngsters and Brockman out there. He was looking for the carryover today. This is Smith teeing up a 3. Banks it in.
Call it.
Did he bank that in?
He banked it in.
All right.
But it counts. Luck counts.
Just wanted to make sure we're seeing it right.
And that was a case of a guy, I haven't had a shot in a while. I'm going to take one.
Why not? Uh-oh. Pondexter hurried it outside there. Denman. Justin says, I need to drop down to the level of the ball just like James Worthy.
Terrell Smith, sometimes better to be lucky than good. Right off the glass.
That's not bad. Take your per diem money on those counts. There's Brown outside from the elbow. Showing some distance. And here comes Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they're within 10 with 8:11 to play.
Nice job of finding Brown. He steadies himself, squares up, takes the 1 bounce, knocks it down.
Turner pops out, Gamble screen, Turner to the end line, pull-up jumper, got it. That's a gorgeous move. Hard 2-dribble pull-up.
Again, he's showing a lot of poise and a lot of savvy for a true freshman.
12-point Husky lead, 7:48 to go in the second half. The first of 8 home games in a row for the Huskies. Come on out and see this ball club at Bank of America Arena in Seattle. Jumper offered up and off the mark. Denman with a rebound. Again, drop step spin. In he comes. Brockman the follow up and in.
Cleaning it up.
Huskies now with 3 players in double figures. Denman 15, Pondexter 14, and Brockman now with 10. Terrell Smith backs in on Turner. Foul called in the act of shooting.
And that's an area where Terrell Smith can be real effective if he's able to play his real position, which is the 2. He's so big and strong, he can take smaller guards down into the block. But you see Elson Turner just gets away with the little push off, pulls up to the little baseline J.
And then get it to the cup. Things happen. Brockman takes up a lot of space. Oh, you're going to eat that one up. 14-point Husky lead. College basketball on FSN, brought to you this afternoon by Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking. 7:04 left in the conflict, and the Huskies leading Pacific from the Big West out of Stockton, California, 58-44. Along with Francis Williams, I'm Kevin Calabro, and the third member of our team is Jen Mueller. And Jen, it's holidays are for family, right?
Well, they are, although I got to tell you, John Brockman is not too happy about that right now. Let me explain. You know, I'm sure that you, being the music aficionado that you are, Kevin, know that AC/DC is playing tomorrow night at the Tacoma Dome. John Brockman has had that date circled on his calendar for months because his uncle is the tour manager for the legendary rock band. So he was looking forward to going to the concert, maybe going backstage to meet the guy. So I asked him about it today. I said, are you pumped up? He goes, no, tomorrow we have to have Thanksgiving dinner as a family. I don't get to go. I said, you can't get your mom to move it a couple hours. She goes, Mama B said no, so it's a no-go for me, guys.
He's got to have the band over to the house.
Well, that's what I said. You know, after the game today, hey, just have him over for some pie.
Easy way to fix that. Lead singer comes through the door in those short pants. You know it's on. 6:55 to go in the second half. 58-45. Here's Thomas with it. Isaiah out there along with Denman. He has had a heck of an afternoon as Justin Denman, shooting the ball beautifully. 5 of 8, 2 of 4 from range.
Well, Pacific came back with their starters after that timeout. They're going to try to make their last push. The Huskies come back with Isaiah. One of our keys to the game was, could Isaiah Thomas keep his teammates involved and kind of run the show for the Huskies? So let's see how he does coming down the stretch here in these final 6.5 minutes.
Thomas runs down a rebound, resets inside to the big man. Give him a touch. Hand is fouled. Taking it to the rim. And Lorenzo Romar looks out at Thomas and points to him and acknowledges the hustle play as he ran down that loose ball. Thomas will come over for a conversation with Cameron Dollar. Pretty good guard in his day at UCLA. Part of a championship team. Anthony Brown with a foul. And Gant to get a couple here. 7,500 in attendance here this afternoon at the University of Washington. Thomas 5 points, 3 assists, the 4 turns. Had an economical line in the 2-point loss to the Gators of Florida. 17 points, 9 assists. Only attempted 1 field goal in the first half. But that's because he was finding the postman, John Brockman. Gant gives the Huskies a 14-point lead. 6:11 to go in a ball game. Troyer hadn't been able to get on track, but he had a beauty there over tough resistance.
Yeah, well, he's tall enough to shoot over Dentman. And again, as long as he can get his feet set, he's not really an off-the-dribble type shooter. But if he can go to his left where he can square up, the Husky guards are all pretty diminutive, and he can shoot over them.
Brockman faces on Brown, but Brown had hands. As soon as you pivot, you know you're going to have to get a little space, otherwise the foul. Brown had hands on him.
Chad Troy out of Seattle Prep. First thing he did, number one, was, he was patient, made a little ball fake, and again, he's about 6'4", and he was just basically on that one able to just jump over Dentman and knock down that 15-footer.
John Brockman, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 of 8 shooting from the field.
It's really been difficult for either team to really get into any type of a flow or a rhythm. There's been so many turnovers, and there's been so many fouls called in this game that the offensive flow has been very difficult to find for both teams.
Rebound off the missed free throw. Elston will tee it up. Brockman the offensive rebound, but he's fouled. So we'll keep it on this end, and the Huskies, Brockman will again go to the line. Brockman has had an illustrious career here at the University of Washington. He's make it 89 points to move into 9th in the all-time scoring list, and he would move ahead of a couple of guys that maybe you've heard of. Detlef Schrempf, who's in attendance here tonight or this afternoon, and Brandon Roy. 1,400 points, and he's recorded a double-double in 45 of 102 games. Here's a look at Detlef. Slim and trim, I think he can still play.
Yeah, he might be in better shape. Every time I see him, he's on his bike.
Yeah.
He might be in better shape now than when he was playing.
He loves the road bike. Dentman nearly picked it away from Troyer. Keeps it alive. Has to steal. Great find. Thomas! Blown to the glass to lay it up and in. Marvelous play by Dentman.
And that pressure out front has been the bread and butter for the Huskies all day long. Although they've turned it over a lot, haven't necessarily done a good job from the foul line, their defensive pressure has been consistent all day, and that and Pondexter have really been the difference in this game.
17-point lead, and Joe Ford comes back with a nice crossover, slithering his way to the cup. The Huskies can continue the pressure. They'll put this one in the books. Thomas to pull up. They'll go. Now that move there from Thomas, we were talking about Westbrook and his moving on to the next level in the NBA, but for guys quick as Thomas and for Westbrook, guys that are athletic and get to the cup, that little pull-up 10-footer can be lethal in the arsenal.
Yeah, if you can have that mid-range game, that in-between game, and again having the ability to use the glass, which a lot of kids don't do anymore, it can be really in your arsenal and make you a very effective offensive player.
Because you know the defense is on their heels anyway, expecting you to float or try to get to the cup and leap over them. Take a look at our GMC Professional Grade, brought to you by Gamblin Motors and Enumclaw. There's a little man getting to the cup, but a tremendous find by Dentman.
Well, Dentman was just relentless going after that loose ball, picked it up and had the presence of mind to look up. And Thomas, being the scorer that he is, was on the streak, and they find him for the layup.
Well, Dentman's 5'11", and Thomas measures out at 5'8". But they have such great quickness and ball handling skills that sure there'll come a time when maybe there's some matchup problems. Obviously, bigger guards will try to post them, but for now anyway, in the open court, those two are poisoned.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to pressure people and make it difficult for them to handle the ball and take away vision so they won't have clear and easy lanes to pass the basketball. Benoit Overton is probably their best on-the-ball defender. I think Dentman probably does the best job of getting out in the passing lanes, and I think the defensive end is something where the Husky staff is still trying to get Thomas to buy in, and he will, because he's a pretty driven player and wants to be successful.
4:35 left in the ball game. Huskies lead it 64-49. I'll tell you about some upcoming games the Huskies have here in a moment when we get a chance. Thomas. Dentman hops to his feet. Why not? He's been on fire, has Dentman. Brockman trying to get to the ball. Get to the ball is bodied out of there. And a foul called on Brockman. So Pacific will come the other way to shoot the 1-and-1. That's the third foul on John.
Well, with a 15-point lead with just a little over 4 minutes to go, the Huskies come out of that timeout and really exhibit a lot of patience. They're at a point in the game now where both teams will be at the foul line on all fouls. So be patient, look for good shots, and you have an opportunity to pretty much salt this game away if your defense stays solid.
Sam Willard, 6'9" sophomore from Pierre, South Dakota. Well, that's quite a contrast from Pierre, South Dakota to the San Joaquin Valley, Stockton, California. Beautiful arena, the Alex Spanos Arena, built by Alex Spanos, the great developer in that area, and of course, at one time with the San Diego Chargers.
Spent some time down there a couple weeks ago. A beautiful new baseball facility also there on campus. And they have 6,400 students. Yep. Real small school.
First chartered university, state of California, 1851. Been around a while. Here's Dentman now. 3:57 left. 64-50. Here's Thomas on the wing. Hands to screen high. Whistle before the shot. And the Huskies turn it back to Pacific. Timeout called on the floor. Defense, name of the game for the Huskies in the second half.
Oh, no question. Led by Justin Dentman, getting out in the passing lane. And again, can Isaiah lead this Husky team coming down the stretch? We'll find out here in just a few minutes.
Huskies on top of Pacific, 14 points large with 3:41 remaining. Good overplay of the ball. Brockman leading to a bucket.
Well, I think the one thing the Huskies are going to have to do as they get into this season, they have to come up with a defensive identity. I don't think that they're going to always have the offensive lapses that they had last week in Kansas City, but they have to be able to depend on their defense where they can dig down and get stops. And although Pacific is a lot more patient basketball team, not necessarily wanting to get up and down the floor, the 86 and the 73 points they gave up last week to Kansas and Florida are not the type of defensive efforts that are going to win you games.
7 steals for the Huskies this afternoon. Terrell Smith scoops and scores between a double team. And now full court pressure applied by Pacific.
Over 3 minutes to go. Pacific's going to have to pull out all the stops and see if they can create some turnovers and get some easy looks. But the Huskies do a nice job of attacking that pressure and getting all the way to the basket. And Pondexter now is up to 16 points to go along with the 11 rebounds.
Smith trying to shake Dentman, has the advantage. Slide step to the window, laid it in.
And when he can get out on the wing and play his natural position, which is the 2, he's much bigger and much stronger than pretty much any guards he'll play against.
Oh, look out. Thomas leads Gant to the promised land, and the right hand stiff one.
Well, 2 times Pacific goes into full court pressure after a made basket, and 2 times the Huskies get a layup.
14-point lead. Troyer. Nope. Rebound to Smith. Pondexter hauls it down. As Francis mentioned, he has had a big afternoon. Been very aggressive through the course of this game. 16 points, 12 boards. Huskies turn it over. Troyer the other way. His dad, Mike, played for the Huskies back in the day. Actually has the freshman scoring record, 52 points in a single game. And the Huskies will call a timeout. Take a look at the lead pass from Thomas, throwing it right into the sweet spot where Darnell Gant can get on the trampoline.
Gant, who chose to redshirt last year, Sat there, watched the games, tried to get an understanding of this Husky system, and has worked his way into the starting lineup as a redshirt freshman. And he's a guy, as Coach Romar told us earlier today, is not concerned about the points, stats, just wants to do what he needs to do to find a way to get on the floor. And he's doing it by hitting the open man, crashing the boards, playing strong defense.
Blue collar guy.
Got to have him.
Artem Wallace is on the floor now for the Huskies. Wallace, the 250-pound senior, right here in the state of Washington, Toledo High School. Thomas goes down, he's tied up, and the possession arrow will go to the Huskies.
And Thomas got a little nonchalant with the ball that time. I mean, it's time to go ahead and put these guys away with 14-point cushion and 1:44 to go.
Huskies' first Pac-10 game will be January 3rd at Washington State. What a big one that's going to be, but plenty of Husky basketball before then, all at home. This is the first of 8 straight for the Huskies. Coming up next, Oklahoma State. Overton triggers, Wolfinger the rebound. Nope. Tip volley off the mark from Thomas. Wolfinger gets it back and just slaps it in, and he's fouled.
First time we've seen Wolfinger today. 7-footer who actually is an excellent outside shooter, but they're going to need him as they get into that Pac-10 season that you're talking about. He's a 7-footer who's really just kind of starting to find his way, coming off of an injury. And if they can get some contribution from him, it's only going to make them that much tougher.
Come down with a rebound, keep it at shoulder level, and stick it right back up and in there, big fella. Joe Wolfinger, the junior from Portland, Oregon. As Francis mentioned, he's been hampered with some foot problems. Huskies pressure, breaks Pacific again, and Thomas the other way will roll it in, and he is fouled. And he landed awkwardly, and he's limping slightly as he heads to the free throw line.
Yeah, he did, but Smith in the open court gets his pocket picked by Thomas. And we know that when he gets the ball, he knows what to do with it. He's going straight to the basket.
Thomas with a nice line this afternoon. 9 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 of 10 shooting. Follows his miss. Artem Wallace to follow. Thomas, look at him right down there in the mixer, going to work. Spikes it off of a Pacific player's heel and out of bounds.
Well, you love the hustle. You love the hustle. And I'm sure Coach Thomason, conversely, is not real happy about the fact that they are being out-hustled. But the other side of that is they missed another free throw, which is an area that we've talked about all day that the Huskies are going to have to show some improvement in, especially in those close games coming down the stretch.
The schedule coming up for the Huskies. Well, they've got Oklahoma State next on the docket. That is on December the 4th. That is the Purple T-shirt Day presented by FSN. 8 o'clock start. Then Texas Southern, Portland State, Eastern Washington, Lehigh, Montana, and Morgan State to get them tuned up. The Pac-10 schedule, which begins on the 3rd of January when they're in Pullman to take on Washington State. The home opener for the Huskies in terms of conference play will be on the 8th against Tommy Amaker's Stanford Cardinal. That's at 7:30 in January the 8th. So be prepared for some good college hoops here in the state of Washington. Not only the Huskies, but the Cougars. Gonzaga off to a tremendous start. I tell you, I think the Bulldogs put themselves, just watching them play over the last couple of nights, Francis, they are a legit national championship caliber team.
Yeah, they're probably good enough to have a chance to really win the whole thing. No doubt about it.
Ball rattled free. Corey Hawkins is on the floor. And I mean, Hawkins, maybe here he is with the ball, number 24, maybe familiar to you, 6'1" guard. His father, Percy Hawkins, played for so many years opposite Gary Payton for the great Sonic basketball teams in the mid-90s, coached by George Karl. The Hawk, of course, played at Bradley for the Braves in Peoria, Illinois, and led the nation in scoring. His daddy was a tremendous scorer. I think he averaged close to 32 a game his senior year at Bradley.
Yeah, he could really fill it up.
Look at Brandon. I remember he was running around as one of the ball boys.
Yeah.
Hawk could bring the kids in and just turn them loose.
Absolutely.
19 seconds left in this one, and the Huskies leading by 18. Once they got the turnovers taken care of, handled the ball and moved it crisply as they have through most of the second half, they've been very impressive.
Yeah, they really have, especially with that defensive pressure, as you mentioned.
Huskies win it here. Big over Pacific, 72-54. For Francis Williams and Jen Mueller, I'm Kevin Calabro. We say so long from Seattle, where the final is University of Washington 72, Pacific 54. Now let's send it to the College Hoops Northwest Studios. Angie Menting standing by with Lamar Hurd.